five, um, and clock is ticking. The clock is ticking.
So yes, I keep telling y'all never, ever, ever find another.
In the realm of local politics, where governance usually takes precedence over theatrics, Mayor Tiffany Henyard of Dalton, Illinois, has turned her tenure into a spectacle worthy of a reality TV series. Instead of being known for groundbreaking achievements, Henyard has become a polarizing figure, embracing the self-proclaimed title of Super Mayor through a series of grandiose public displays and questionable financial decisions. From extravagant media stunts to reckless spending, her administration has been plagued by scandals, controversies, and increasing financial instability. Yet, rather than simmering down, the uproar surrounding her leadership only continues to grow. Henyard's time in office has sparked frustration among Dalton residents and those in neighboring Thornton Township, who have taken to social media to express their discontent. However, despite the mounting outrage, she remains defiant, brushing off criticism and dismissing repeated calls for her resignation. One of the most shocking moments of her tenure came when she announced her bid for a second term. With unwavering confidence, she likened herself to none other than the controversial former President Donald Trump, downplaying the scandals that have tainted her administration. The announcement immediately triggered backlash, as residents voiced their anger over what they see as a complete failure of leadership. Public meetings in Dalton have devolved into chaos, with frustrated citizens venting their grievances and local trustees engaging in fiery disputes over Henyard's handling of town affairs. Under her leadership, the town's financial health has taken a nosedive, now burdened with a staggering deficit exceeding $3 million. Just a few years ago, Dalton boasted a stable general fund balance of over $5 million. But Henyard's financial decisions have depleted that surplus, leaving the town in dire straits. Concerns reached new heights when an investigation led by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot exposed troubling details about Dalton's finances. Among the most shocking discoveries was an eye-opening $40,000 taxpayer-funded Amazon shopping spree. Yes, you read that correctly. $1,240 in a single day blown on online purchases. Residents were left outraged, demanding transparency about what was bought, who approved the transactions, and why such reckless spending was necessary. Instead of providing answers, Henyard has sidestepped accountability, further fueling mistrust within the community. Transparency has been virtually non-existent, and her reluctance to address these financial discrepancies has only intensified calls for her removal. Despite the escalating outrage, Henyard continues to embrace her super mayor persona, dismissing concerns as if the town's crumbling finances were nothing more than background noise. As she pushes forward with her re-election campaign, Dalton remains deeply divided. Her leadership has become synonymous with mismanagement, and her unwillingness to confront the financial crisis has only widened the gap between her and the people she governs. What once seemed like a promising political career has unraveled into a series of never-ending scandals, each adding fuel to the fire of public frustration. With every new revelation about financial waste and misconduct, Henyard's support base has dwindled, replaced by an overwhelming wave of voices demanding her resignation. As Dalton teeters on the brink of financial ruin, it has become clear that she is now a symbol of division, discontent, and failed leadership. Her reckless spending and inability to steer the town in the right direction have left Dalton in turmoil. Yet, despite the glaring signs of a town in crisis, Henyard remains unwavering in her ambitions. Her bid for a second term faces widespread skepticism and resistance from nearly every corner of the community. As investigations into her administration continue, with more shocking details likely to emerge, the question remains, Will Henyard find a way to salvage her political career? Or will the people of Dalton finally demand the change they have been calling for? For now, Tiffany Henyard's legacy is shaping up to be one of missed opportunities, public relations disasters, and a town left deeply fractured. If she chooses to run again, one thing is certain: the people of Dalton will not forget her tenure anytime soon, and for all the wrong reasons.
Calls for a change at the top in South suburban Dalton.
Of course, we are talking about
Tiffany Henyard continues to insist that the controversial expenditures under her administration were made in the best interest of the community. However, a recent audit has cast serious doubt on her financial management, uncovering a disturbing pattern of reckless spending. Under Henyard's leadership, high-value charges on the village's credit card have become routine, with many of these expenses either lacking proper documentation or appearing completely unjustified. This has fueled accusations of financial irresponsibility, with critics arguing that her handling of taxpayer money has been nothing short of careless, especially as Dalton's financial crisis worsens. During a tense village meeting, one outraged resident directly challenged Henyard, demanding, "Where's the accountability? Our streets are falling apart, our schools are underfunded, and she's out here spending like it's monopoly money." This frustration is widely shared among residents and trustees, many of whom are demanding transparency regarding Henyard's spending habits and overall priorities as mayor amid the town's deepening financial turmoil. Despite the mounting criticism, Henyard remains defiant, insisting that her leadership is essential for Dalton's future. However, it's not just her financial decisions that have fueled public outrage. Her leadership style has also come under intense scrutiny. Many describe her approach as combative and chaotic, fostering a toxic environment at public meetings. What was once a space for open discussion has devolved into an arena of hostility, with residents and trustees openly clashing with her over her management. In one particularly heated meeting, Henyard faced backlash for arriving late, delaying an already volatile session and further aggravating an already frustrated community. At one point, an exasperated resident stood up and declared, "We are not your subjects. We are your bosses. You will not treat us this way any longer." This outburst reflects the growing resentment toward Henyard's leadership, as many feel their voices are being ignored rather than heard. Instead of acknowledging the criticism or addressing the unrest, Henyard has dismissed her detractors, labeling them as nothing more than opponents with an agenda. "Whether you like it or not, I am your mayor," she proclaimed defiantly, doubling down on her stance and making it clear she has no intention of backing down. However, this response has only added fuel to the fire, further enraging residents who see her refusal to engage with their concerns as a sign of complete disconnect from the people who elected her. Her confrontational attitude, paired with her apparent disregard for the town's financial well-being, has cemented her status as one of Dalton's most unpopular leaders. Many now question how much longer she can continue to dodge accountability and maintain her grip on power. As the investigation into Dalton's finances intensifies and the town's fiscal crisis deepens, Henyard's tenure seems to be heading toward an unavoidable reckoning. The only question that remains is whether her defiance will be enough to keep her in office, or if the growing wave of discontent will finally push her out.
Yes. At the conclusion of this investigation, I will provide an assessment of the findings and the recommendations.
The controversy surrounding Mayor Tiffany Henyard extends far beyond Village Hall, as her personal life has now become yet another source of public scrutiny. Henyard is currently facing an eviction lawsuit filed by her landlord, who claims that she and her boyfriend have failed to pay rent since August. According to the lawsuit, the couple owes thousands of dollars in back rent, and even went as far as changing the locks to keep the landlord out. This legal battle has only intensified the scrutiny on Henyard, raising serious questions about her priorities at a time when her political career is already mired in controversy. Critics argue that Henyard seems more focused on maintaining her public image than addressing the critical issues plaguing Dalton. The situation has left many baffled, as they question how someone earning over $300,000 annually from two public positions could find themselves entangled in financial trouble. As a mayor entrusted with serving the community, her personal financial mismanagement only adds to the growing concerns about her ability to govern responsibly. Adding to the spectacle, Henyard, who has self-branded as the super mayor, has made a series of extravagant public appearances, including the installation of massive welcome banners plastered with her face. These displays have been widely criticized as tone-deaf and self-serving, reinforcing the perception that Henyard is more concerned with her own image than making meaningful progress for Dalton. The situation took an even more bizarre turn when it was revealed that the vendor responsible for producing the banners had not been paid for their services. When workers attempted to remove them, Henyard allegedly called the police and demanded that charges be filed against them and even her own village administrator. This move sparked further outrage, with residents questioning why Henyard appeared more invested in protecting her public persona than addressing the real issues facing the town. Many have described the entire ordeal as humiliating, highlighting how disconnected Henyard seems from the struggles of the community. "It's embarrassing," one critic remarked, emphasizing how her fixation on self-promotion is overshadowing the pressing challenges Dalton faces. This obsession with image, combined with ongoing financial mismanagement and personal controversies, has led many to question whether Henyard is fit to lead. Her actions suggest that bolstering her own reputation takes precedence over stabilizing Dalton's finances and addressing public dissatisfaction. With backlash growing from both within and outside her administration, Henyard's ability to recover from these ongoing missteps appears increasingly uncertain. Rather than working to resolve the town's most urgent concerns, she continues to double down on defiance and self-promotion, further fueling public outrage and deepening the crisis that has come to define her time in office.
Mayor Henyard to arrive. We will give another 5 minutes.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard delayed the meeting.
The political turmoil surrounding Mayor Tiffany Henyard of Dalton, Illinois, shows no signs of easing, with controversy unfolding at every turn. While most local politicians focus on governance, Henyard's tenure has become a spectacle, dominated by personal scandals, questionable decisions, and growing dissatisfaction among residents. This constant state of chaos has fueled widespread frustration, leaving the town at a critical juncture and raising questions about how much longer Henyard can hold on to power. The latest controversy centers on Henyard's personal life, which has become just as much a focal point as her political career. She is currently facing an eviction lawsuit, with her landlord accusing her and her boyfriend of failing to pay rent since August. According to the lawsuit, the couple owes thousands in back rent and even changed the locks to keep the landlord out. This legal battle has only intensified scrutiny of Henyard, particularly given that she earns over $300,000 annually from two public positions. Many residents now wonder how someone entrusted with managing public funds can be in such financial trouble herself. At the same time, Henyard has continued making bold moves to maintain her public image, many of which have backfired. One of her most criticized decisions was installing large banners featuring her face throughout Dalton. The displays, meant to bolster her presence as super mayor, were widely condemned as self-serving and tone-deaf, especially given the town's worsening financial crisis. Making matters worse, it was later revealed that the vendor responsible for producing the banners had not been paid. When workers attempted to remove them, Henyard allegedly called the police and even pressed charges against her own village administrator, further fueling public outrage. She cares more about her image than the well-being of our town, one frustrated resident remarked, summing up the growing sentiment among Dalton's residents. Henyard's apparent obsession with self-promotion has made her seem increasingly disconnected from the real issues facing the community. This pattern was also evident during her time as the supervisor of Thornton Township, where her leadership was marked by erratic decision-making and division. One of her most controversial proposals there, a 100% homeowner tax rebate, was swiftly rejected by trustees and residents who saw it as an unrealistic, publicity-driven stunt. Christopher Lemo, a trustee at the time, called the plan fluff, accusing Henyard of using it to boost her image rather than address real financial issues. This tendency to bypass proper channels and push through poorly planned initiatives has carried over into her time as Dalton's mayor. The town's residents, many already disillusioned by her leadership, view these actions as further evidence of her poor judgment and inability to govern effectively. But it's not just financial mismanagement and self-promotion that have sparked outrage. Henyard's increasingly erratic behavior and combative leadership style have also alienated residents and local officials. Instead of working with trustees or engaging in constructive dialogue, she has remained defiant, often escalating conflicts rather than resolving them. One notable example occurred during a village meeting where Henyard arrived late, delaying an already contentious session. Frustrated residents confronted her, and one individual stood up and declared, "We are not your subjects. We are your bosses, and you will not treat us this way any longer." Rather than addressing their concerns, Henyard dismissed the criticism as mere contempt, defiantly stating, "I am your mayor." Her dismissive response only deepened the public's frustration, reinforcing the belief that she is out of touch with the community she was elected to serve. Dalton is in crisis. Financial instability is growing, public services are strained, and infrastructure is deteriorating. Yet, rather than tackling these urgent issues, Henyard continues to prioritize her public image, often turning to social media instead of engaging in meaningful governance. Many residents have criticized her frequent online broadcasts, which they argue serve as distractions rather than solutions. Instead of addressing community concerns, Henyard has used her platform to accuse critics of corruption and conspiracy, without providing evidence. "We need a mayor, not a social media celebrity," one resident remarked, frustrated by Henyard's apparent preference for online theatrics over real leadership. For some, her broadcasts are a source of amusement. For others, they symbolize her tendency to prioritize showmanship over substance. The contrast between her image-focused social media presence and Dalton's growing struggles could not be starker. Henyard's leadership in Dalton has been strikingly similar to her time in Thornton Township, marked by unilateral decision-making, controversial appointments, and deepening division. One of her most contentious decisions as mayor was appointing Ronald Burr as Dalton's new police chief. The move was immediately met with resistance, with trustees arguing that it violated the law. The Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board later confirmed that Burr was unfit for the role due to expired certifications and missing documentation. Trustees have vowed to take the matter to court, adding yet another legal battle to the mounting conflicts surrounding Henyard's administration. Henyard's combative leadership style has also led to government gridlock. Key trustees, including Carmen Carrile and Jason Gonzalez, have refused to attend meetings due to their concerns over her management. This has effectively prevented the board from making critical decisions, such as approving bill payments and renewing insurance policies. While Henyard accuses them of undermining the township, Carrile and Gonzalez argue they are standing up for transparency and fiscal responsibility. "We will not participate in this circus," Gonzalez stated, emphasizing his commitment to ethical governance. The situation has only worsened with growing legal challenges. Both Dalton and Thornton Township have received subpoenas as federal investigators begin scrutinizing Henyard's financial records. While she insists she has nothing to hide, the investigations have only fueled suspicions of wrongdoing and deepened public disillusionment. Public meetings in Dalton have become increasingly volatile, with residents openly calling for Henyard's resignation. What were once civil forums for discussion have devolved into chaotic confrontations, with Henyard often refusing to engage with concerns or acknowledge the town's deteriorating conditions. Many believe she has become more focused on defending her position than on addressing the urgent needs of the community. Her approval ratings are plummeting, and the chorus of residents demanding her resignation is growing louder. As election season approaches, many Dalton residents are wondering if it's finally time for a change. One of Henyard's fiercest critics, Jason House, has officially entered the mayoral race. House, a longtime Dalton resident, has gained significant support by campaigning on a platform of accountability, transparency, and integrity, values that many believe Henyard has failed to uphold. With many residents eager for a leader who prioritizes the community over personal gain, the upcoming election is shaping up to be a referendum on Henyard's leadership. Voters will have to decide whether to continue with a mayor whose tenure has been plagued by scandal and poor decision-making, or embrace a new leader who promises to restore stability to Dalton. Meanwhile, federal investigations into Henyard's White administration continue, adding even more uncertainty to her future. As more revelations about financial mismanagement and legal troubles emerge, the pressure on Henyard is mounting. The public outcry, legal battles, and rising opposition leave Henyard facing an uphill battle to remain in power. It seems increasingly unlikely that she can weather the storm of scandals and public dissatisfaction, especially as calls for her resignation grow louder. With the town's future at stake, Dalton stands at a crossroads. The political storm surrounding Henyard is far from over, and the next election may determine whether she survives or if a new leader will step in to clean up the mess left in her wake.